If everything in your business still needs you, you're the problem. Let that land for a minute, because the thing that you call high standards might actually be a single point of failure. And worse yet, it's costing you more than just time. It's costing you momentum, confidence, customer experience, and the ceiling on your growth. Gut check time. Here's an uncomfortable question for you. If you disappeared for 2 weeks, no calls, no text, no quick questions, would your business still move? Would the schedule still get filled up? Would estimates still go out the door? Would customers still get updates? Would jobs still get completed, but without chaos? Or would everything stall while your team waits for you to approve everything? If that makes your stomach tighten, stay with me, because the fix is not work harder. The fix is leverage. Most owners think that being central is being in control, but being central is not control. It's dependency. Early on, dependency looks productive. You're close to work. You can fix the problems fast. You can keep quality high by touching everything. But the moment you have a real team, dependency now becomes drag. And growth is not going to remove the bottleneck. Growth is going to magnify it. Let me make this real. I've seen this exact pattern in HVAC businesses. The owner is the only person who can approve the following. Do we waive a diagnostic fee? Do we discount to save a job? Do we squeeze in an emergency call? Should we send the senior tech or the new guy? So then what happens? Well, dispatchers stop deciding, techs stop deciding. And customers, well, they only do one thing: wait and wait and wait. And that waiting, well, it doesn't look like high standards at all. It looks like disorganization. And you, the owner, you end up living in your phone. You're now having to approve decisions that never should have reached you in the first place. So if your business slows down the moment you step away, you don't own a company, you own a job with extra steps. So if you're the owner of a service-based business, whether it's in HVAC, roofing, auto repair, construction, electrical, landscaping, for example, this is common. You become the final decision maker, the final approver, the final price check, the escalation point, the human router of every single problem. And in the moment, it might feel like leadership. It feels like you're essential, but essential is not scalable. Essential is fragile. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 predictable patterns that turn owners into bottlenecks. The framework that fixes it, something that we like to call decision lanes, how you can document standards so quality stays high without micromanaging, and where AI fits into all of this, not as magic, but as enforcement for the system that you designed. By the way, if you want to apply all of this to your business without guessing, I have a free and a done for you option. First, I put a link in the description to a PDF that we like to call the Owner Bottleneck Assessment. It helps you spot where approvals and decisions are getting stuck. And if you want us to do a full diagnosis with you, we run a 2-week bottleneck assessment where we'll identify your top 3 to 5 bottlenecks, then deliver a full audit showing you exactly how to fix your top 3 revenue leaks. And right now, we're offering $500 off that assessment. But start with the free PDF. The link is below in the description. Owners become bottlenecks in predictable patterns, not because they're bad leaders, because they're protective. You built the business with your reputation. You care about the quality. You don't want mistakes. You want your customers happy. Look, I totally get it. But protection without structure creates paralysis. And when everything routes through you, everything slows down. Here's a perfect example of how this might work. If you run an auto repair shop, this one is likely pretty common for you. A service advisor will come to you and say, hey, can we knock 10% off this RO so that we can get this customer closed and start on the repair work? So what do? You say, well, let me see the context behind it. Now you're going back, reviewing previous ROs instead of building systems. Here's a perfect example for you roofers out there. A rep is on the roof, writing up an estimate. They take it down to the customer. The customer wants an upgrade. Maybe they want better shingles. Maybe they want better underlayment. Your rep at this point, they don't know how to price it. So they call you and everything pauses. In both of these examples and similar ones to it, your team learns one very important thing. They don't decide. The owner decides. Pattern number 2, you approve every exception, every unusual client request, every scope change, every special situation. It feels like protecting standards, but what it actually does is it trains your team to stop thinking at the first sign of nuance. For all you construction company owners out there, you've seen this plenty of times before. A client comes in and says, hey, can you just add this one extra thing? Your project manager, they know it's scope creep, but they don't know what they're allowed to approve. So what do? They ping you. And guess what happens to you? Your day now becomes 50 little tiny approvals spread out throughout the day. Pattern number 3, you personally solve conflicts. 2 team members disagree, you step in. Client pushes back, you handle it. A job goes sideways, you jump right into that thread. And your team, what do they learn? They learn that if this gets hard, just ship it right up the chain of commands. Let's take it back to you auto shop repair owners. I'm sure you've gone through this one 100 times before. One of your service advisors has a difficult customer in front of them. They want a refund or they want the repair for free. Instead of following a policy, they ship it right to you. Congratulations, you are now the customer conflict department. Pattern number 4, you override the system instead of strengthening it. What does this look like? Well, a process that you set up fails once. So what do? You bypass it. You just do it to keep things moving forward. And now your heroics, well, they become the operating model. Here's a great example for all you roofers out there. Your estimating system says that follow-up happens within 24 hours. But you personally call the lead immediately just to be safe. So your reps, what do they now do? They stop following the system because they think, hey, the owner will handle it. No big deal. Pattern number 5, when stress rises, you return to operations. You jump into delivery. You become the firefighter. Everyone feels relief, except for the fact that the business now becomes more dependent on you. For all the HVAC business owners, I'm sure you've been through this before. When the schedule gets overloaded, you hop in and start dispatching. When callbacks rise, you hop in and start taking tech calls. When reviews begin to dip online, you hop in and start responding personally. Sure, it feels responsible, but it cements the dependency. Why is this so hard? Let's be real. Letting go feels risky. What if someone makes the wrong call? What if standards drop? What if a customer gets upset? What if money's lost? Hey, those fears, they're real. But staying involved without boundaries has a cost that you rarely calculate: burnout. And burnout makes you reactive. Reactive leaders answer the loudest message. They approve the fastest fix. They make exceptions just this one time. They change priorities midstream. And that inconsistency, guess what it teaches your team? The rules here are very unclear. If I want to stay safe, I go to the owner. Let me give you a quick today fix that minimizes interruptions immediately. Pick one decision that hits you constantly. Let's say discounts, and write a real simple lane. If it's up to a 5% discount, well, then the sales leader makes the decision. If the discount is between 5 to 10%, then include a summary and a recommendation. If the discount is over 10%, that has to be approved by the owner. And guess what happens? Your team no longer has to ask you, can I? They act within the lane and the business gets faster, which brings us to the real fix. If you want to remove the bottlenecks, do this with me right now. I'm going to build 3 lanes that you can steal right now. We just did lane number 1, where if it's up to a 5% discount, you let your team lead or your sales lead make the decision. If it's from 5 to 10% discount, then you provide a summary plus a recommendation. Or if it's over 10%, then that's where you, the owner, comes in and makes the final decision. Lane number 2, scope change. If it's under a certain number of labor hours, then you let your project manager make the decision. If it's over X number of hours, then you escalate, but with options. Option A could be something like keep the timeline, but at a higher price. Option B could be something like keep the price, but make it a longer timeline. Or option C, remove scope. Lane number 3, refunds and rework. If it's under a certain dollar amount, then allow your service manager to make the decision. If it's over a certain dollar figure, then escalate with a summary and a recommended resolution. See, decision lanes do one thing and one thing only. They stop decisions from living in your inbox and on your phone. Now, look, if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, yeah, but I don't really know what my top bottlenecks are, that's why we run our 2-week bottleneck assessment. We'll identify the top 3 to 5 bottlenecks in your service-based business and then deliver a full audit to you, showing you exactly how to fix your top 1 to 3 revenue leaks. And we don't just tell you all this in theory. We provide a walkthrough call, the full audit, and a roadmap that you can own. And right now, we're offering $500 off of that. Link to book your call is in the description. Now, let's talk about documenting standards instead of enforcing them verbally. Now, look, this isn't a huge manual. This is a one-page checklist by department. Here's an example for all of you auto repair shop owners out there. Before you release a vehicle, the concern has been verified and the fix has been verified. The old parts have been shown to the customer or well documented. The next service appointment that they're due for has been documented and communicated to the customer. Payment has been completed, and the next follow-up message has been scheduled, ready to go. For you HVAC business owners out there, before closing out a job, this might look something like photos taken, equipment model and serial number logged, customer educated on maintenance on the spot, payment collected, review request sent. Train principles, not instructions. Instructions do nothing but create dependency. Principles, on the other hand, create judgment, which means that principles also protect margin, they protect time, and they protect the customer's trust. When your teams know the principles, they stop freezing at step 8. You want to measure outcomes instead of measuring activity. And in service businesses, outcomes look something like this: gross margin per job, callback or rework rate, the cycle time from lead to booked to finished to paid, job completion on time, or if you're in auto repair, something like fixed right the first time, customer retention and reviews. See, when the scoreboard is clear, you stop hovering. So where does AI fit into all of this? Well, AI doesn't replace leadership. AI simply enforces the systems that you design, because technology without structure scales chaos. But with structure, AI becomes leverage. I'm going to share with you 3 realistic ways that AI actually helps service-based businesses. Number 1, customer updates and scheduling. AI drafts up the appointment confirmation, the tech is on his way, rescheduling, and post-job follow-ups. Number 2, estimates and proposals. AI takes your tech notes and photos and turns it into a first draft scope, a proposal, and a checklist. Number 3, inbox triage. AI takes all of the crazy emails that are in your inbox and starts to summarize them. It can take all of those messy customer threads and route them right to the correct lane owner. So you are no longer the human router. If you recognize 3 or more of these, you're not busy. You're structurally stuck. Number 1, your team asks questions they should already know. Number 2, projects pause in waiting on approval. Number 3, customers always get faster replies when you're the one involved. 4, and I hate this one, you dread vacations. 5, your most talented people act like interns. Number 6, you keep hiring, but your workload does not drop. 7, you spend more time reacting than planning. That's not a motivation problem. It's a structure problem. So quick recap. If everything needs you, you're not leading a system. You're powering it. Decision lanes stop approvals from piling up. Standards keep quality repeatable. Principles scale judgment. Outcomes keep you out of the weeds. And AI becomes the leverage when it enforces structure. Now here's what to do next. Step 1. Click the link in the description and download your free owner bottleneck assessment. It'll help show you exactly where your business relies on you for far too much. It'll show you where your business depends on you the most. And then step 2, if you want the fastest path and the clearest plan, apply for our 2-week bottleneck assessment. We identify your top 3 to 5 bottlenecks and then provide you with a full audit to help you fix your top 3 revenue leaks. And it's not just a simple email. No, we provide you with a call, a recording of that call, a full roadmap, and a PDF that you can have and hand off to your team. And right now, we're offering $500 off the assessment. Either way, start with the free assessment first. And if you want more systems and AI workflows specifically for service-based businesses, go ahead and click that subscribe button.